What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Look Ahead, part of the SB Nation NFL show. I am Rob Stats Guerrera from Niners Nation, and with me, as always, on a Thursday from Blog and the Boys, RJ Ochoa. What's up, RJ?
Stats, great to be with you. Great to see your bright, shining face. We were talking just before we started streaming and recording. You're in a fantastic mood.
Yep.
Nothing can get you down. You said you were going to have McDonald's for lunch. I'm very anxious to hear, took my advice on the subject of McDonald's on a documentary a few weeks ago. So maybe a subject for a different day. But I do want to say happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Big surprise, Uncle Stats in his usual crotchety way, not wearing green. Probably thinks it's stupid that anybody would have fun in life.
No, that's not it at all. I have no problem with St. Patrick's Day. To be honest with you, I forgot it was St. Patrick's Day, so I threw on a red hoodie. Forgive me. My son is wearing green. He went to school in a no shenanigans shirt.
So then how did you forget? If you saw your son, how did you forget?
Dude, you've know
been caught in a lie.
To try and get two kids ready and out of the house in the morning. Like, it's a whirlwind. I'm lucky they both had pants on, okay? Before we get into today's show, I want to remind you that we're brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Go download it right now. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Sign up today. Use code SBNNFL for a special offer. That's code SBNNFL only at DraftKings. All right, RJ. Here's what we are going to do. Free agency it's not over. There's definitely some names that are still left out there, but a lot of names have come off the board already. So we are going to give out some free agency superlatives, awards that we come up with. We're going to give them out to anybody we want. And based on what has happened or what has not happened, so to speak, as we all sit and wait for the decision of Deshaun Watson. For anyone that hasn't been paying attention, as we sit and record this, it is almost 10:15 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday. The latest news from Nick Underhill says that the Saints brass have met with Deshaun Watson a second time. That was last night. And they are putting on a full court press to try and bring him to New Orleans.
Are we ready to start the superlatives? Because I have a Deshaun related one. Is this the point of the conversation where we do that? Or?
Boy, that worked out so nice for us. It's almost like we planned it.
Okay. My first superlative, and I'll go slow, Stats, because I know you're going to type to, get the banners ready for the visual audience. If you're a podcast listener, I mean, we love you, but you're missing out. Head to the SB Nation NFL YouTube channel. As the influencers say, smash that subscribe button and follow along. My first is it's the pre-pettiness award. The NFC South. You can't even say the NFC South is the most petty division in the NFL, but the Atlanta Falcons, the New Orleans Saints are the most petty division rivalry in the world. I know that you stats are like, oh, the 49ers and the Seahawks are super petty division rivals. No, it doesn't work that way. The Falcons and the Saints hate each other in ways that no other division rivals hate each other. Like, people hate each other, but there's a special type of hatred. And so reports are, at least as of this morning, at the time we are streaming / recording, that Deshaun Watson is down to the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. Tough times for the Cleveland Browns the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers are so insignificant that they're not even involved in this. And so this is the precursor to an ultra act of pettiness between these two teams, among whoever wins Deshaun Watson, if you want to call it that, and whoever doesn't. Whoever lands Deshaun Watson is going to hoard it over the other forever and ever and ever, and they're probably going to sweep the other this year in their two games, and it is going to be a talking point between those two teams. You know how that is. There are these crazy, sort of flashpoints, butterfly effect moments in NFL history where something happened, and players, I think back to DeMarco Murray choosing the Philadelphia Eagles in free agency. That was this, how dare you? You know what I mean? And so this will create another chapter in the pettiness that is Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints rivalry.
First of all, on the Carolina Panthers, Josh Norris had a really good tweet. He wrote, "The Panthers spent the last 400 days attempting to trade for Deshaun Watson, Matthew Stafford, and dreaming of Aaron Rodgers. Now they enter 2022 with Sam Darnold and fill in the blank. Pathetic, a monumental failure, and a major reason why they have taken steps backward for 2 straight seasons." I totally agree with you. But you're right about this. I love this because this elevates the rivalry, right? This stirs the pot. This is if Deshaun Watson chooses the Saints, when he goes into Atlanta, he is public enemy number one. He is going to be booed and vilified and vice versa. So the fact that it has come down to two teams in the same division is unbelievable. Honestly, I'm kind of stunned it's come down to either one of these two teams. Like, if just from a football standpoint, and I can't believe I'm going to say this sentence out loud, the Browns seem like the best spot.
I don't know, man. I mean, not if he wants to air it out, right? Like, I mean, look, we're talking about Deshaun Watson, the football player. There's obviously a lot to this subject, but I mean, he's itching to play. He's itching to air it out. He's itching to kind of flex his football muscles and show off his football greatness.
Right.
I mean, Cleveland isn't that spot for a quarterback. Like, great, Deshaun, you're going to go, flex these football muscles, handing it off to Nick Chubb 20 times a game and Kareem Hunt, 12 more. Cleveland did just trade for Amari Cooper. Jarvis Landry's on the way out. And granted, the Browns have a great defense, but I mean, I think the long-term play might be the NFC South because if the Panthers are the Panthers, as Josh Norris indicated, you're going to choose one of the Saints or the Falcons and leave the other in disarray. And at some point, conceivably, Tom Brady has to leave. I mean, whereas in the AFC North, you not only have to contend with the AFC at large, but you have to contend with Joe Burrow. You have to contend with Lamar Jackson, who I know the Oddcast hates. I mean, so it's a much more difficult road in my mind going to Cleveland.
I don't honestly what's the attraction? There's nobody in Atlanta. Like, there's nobody on that roster. At least
Kyle
New Orleans.
Pitts. There's Kyle Pitts.
Great. At least New Orleans can say we have Alvin Kamara, we have Michael Thomas, we have some playmaking. Taysom Hill can do some stuff.
Now Taysom Hill can do some stuff. Okay, stats. All right.
Some stuff. He can catch the ball. He can't play quarterback. That is not among the stuff he can do. But I don't know. I don't see Atlanta at all. What's the attraction to New Orleans? If Sean Payton was still there, I could see that. Like, you give me Sean Payton and Deshaun Watson, then I'm like, holy hell. Like, look out for the Saints. That's pretty good. But if without him there, I have no Dennis Allen. Like, that's really your guy here. That's what you're counting on.
I will say an interesting wrinkle in this. I just saw this like moments ago. Your guy, Mike Florio, who actually was on the Oddcast this week, noted that the Matt Ryan restructure, which again, these are Florio's words, reported as a done deal 6 days ago, has not happened.
Yes.
So, I mean, I know that's been a talking point, but that's very relevant in this moment because the fact that it has not happened, allows for a higher room of flexibility to trade him.
And Florio adds, if the Falcons would be trading Matt Ryan, it'd be helpful to do it today. He earns $7.5 million roster bonus tomorrow. So, yeah, they'd probably want to get a deal done today.
So, like, I think that the Saints are better at being petty than the Falcons, right? Like, in terms of the pre-pettiness award. So, in the interest of seeing the most pettiness, most drama, most toxicity from one NFL fan base to another, I would like to see Deshaun Watson end up in New Orleans, right? However, I do think the more interesting domino effect is if he winds up in Atlanta, because then what happens with Matt Ryan? That has to conceivably impact what happens with Baker Mayfield, also what happens with your boy, Jimmy Garoppolo.
100%.
So that's the more interesting NFL-wide shakeup in my mind. But again, if I have to choose a side between Atlanta and New Orleans, I'm taking New Orleans every time.
I think that Deshaun it's crazy to me that those are the teams. Like, I'm stunned, but that's where we are. And he's probably going to wind up in the NFC regardless, which is not good news for your team and my team, 49ers and the Cowboys. But nonetheless, we'll see where he goes. Obviously, we'll keep you updated throughout the show if anything does happen. But we're going to continue here with our free agency superlatives. Next up, RJ, and I hate to do it.
I don't think you hate to do it at all.
Yeah,
I want you to do it. I want you to do it. This is like, like in the movies where or you're Natasha and I'm Hawkeye, and it's like we have to fight like who gets to roast me, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and then you're like, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, just do it. Like, I'm totally cool with this. I'm at peace. Go ahead.
I'm going to give my first superlative to the Dallas Cowboys, and it's called the Notre Dame Award.
It's so insulting to Notre Dame.
It kind of is, to be honest with you. Here's my point with that and why I go that route. Notre Dame gets all kind of like attention and notoriety, and people always talk about Notre Dame and the gold helmets and all this stuff. It's so prestigious. Notre Dame hasn't won a national championship in 34 years. They haven't won a national title since the 80s. Like, why do they continue to get all this attention? They're just not that good. They really aren't. And that's honestly, when I look at the Dallas Cowboys, it's the same thing. Oh, America's team. We're always talking about the Cowboys, right? There's always something going on. They're an awful organization, RJ. There is no other way to put it. I know Washington gets dragged through the mud, and they should, because they've deserved it. But Dallas is coming up fast, and it's been that way for a long time. They haven't made an NFC championship game, as you know, since 1995. They've got an owner who has allegedly a secret family for the past quarter century. They've got a PR guy, or had a PR guy, that allegedly was peeping at cheerleaders in the locker room. Like, it takes everything that you have to win a Super Bowl. It takes every ounce of effort and attention. And even if you get all that stuff right, you still have to get some luck. And the Dallas Cowboys are so far away from that, RJ. They alienated Randy Gregory. They chased him out of town. Von Miller was supposedly interested in the Cowboys for some reason. I have no idea why he would be. They didn't get that done at all. Reportedly, Dak Prescott was the only one that was even trying to get that done. Like, I do not get the prestige and the America's team and all of that stuff with the Dallas Cowboys. Like, what is attractive about them right now?
So, a few things here. First of all, Notre Dame, everything you said is accurate. But what I will say is, again, where this is insulting to the Fighting Irish, poetically so, on St. Patrick's Day of all days, is that they have at least made it to a national championship game. They lost. I mean, they got destroyed by Alabama 10 years ago. The real champion of that college football season was Texas A&M by way of the transitive property. Alabama had one loss, and it was, of course, to Johnny Manziel in Tuscaloosa. No big deal. But anyway, I mean, I'm going to stick to just football. Everything you said, there's a lot of allegations around the Cowboys. And I mean, to be literal and fair is not the right word, but just to be literal, a lot of these things are allegations at this point in time. But as far as football is concerned, all of the Cowboys is leverage right now. I mean, Zadarius Smith, comes out, he had been long connected to the Baltimore Ravens, comes out, well, the Cowboys have interest. Why do the Cowboys have interest? Because Zadarius wants more money. Zadarius gets more money from the Baltimore Ravens. Von Miller, all the chatter on Tuesday. Von wants to go to Dallas. And according to some people, that was completely and totally true. But then Von gets the bag from the Buffalo Bills. It's Patrick Peterson goes on NFL Total Access on Wednesday evening. He has a list of teams who he's interested in, the Dallas Cowboys among them. He said this last year. Why? Because the Dallas Cowboys are this big magnet of attention. People are not dumb. I mean, we talked about Alabama beating Notre Dame. When Tua was entering the draft 2 years ago, he did an interview with NFL Network. He said he wanted to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Myles Garrett, when he was entering the draft, I don't know if you remember the stats, he recorded a video where he actually pleaded with Jerry Jones to trade Tony Romo. This was coming off of Dak Prescott's rookie year. For the number 1 overall pick so that they could select Myles Garrett. Deshaun Watson, who we just spoke about in that same draft in 2017 during an awards ceremony in Dallas where Jason Garrett was present, was accepting an award and kind of jokingly said, look, Garrett, I know you have Dak and everything, but I would love to play in Dallas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's all they are. They are just a tool in the overall game. They're an important character. They're the longest standing character on this crazy, what's a long running soap opera? Like, give me a name. Any soap opera. I know you're a big fan. Days of Our Lives. That's what it is. They're the longest running character on Days of Our Lives. Dr. Drake Romano from Days of Our Lives, actually. But, dude,
Drake Ramore, wasn't it?
Drake Ramore, you're right. Wow. I'm so good at Friends trivia. I'm really disappointed in myself, by the way. Also, think about it. Friends started in 1994, which was actually the last season that your team won the Super Bowl, but effectively started when the Cowboys drought began. And it has literally been so long that show ran for 10 years, was off the air, and then shot an entire reunion special, all in the span that both of our teams have yet to taste glory in the ultimate way. I'm in a really bad way with the Cowboys right now. Again, sticking just to football, which is hard to do. Every year, this is what they do in free agency. They sit the first wave out. They don't want anything to do with it. You got to play, Stephen Jones's mantra is you can't pay good players great money. Here's the thing, Stephen Jones. What you are doing is not working out for you. A great friend of mine covers the Cowboys for 105.3 The Fan, the flagship station of the Cowboys in DFW, Bobby Pelt. He had a great tweet. I love this stats on I'm looking for it right now. I'm not gonna have to paraphrase it, but it was on Wednesday evening when the Von Miller thing happened. By the way, I see a comment from Devin Yaboa that says the Cowboys are very much like Manchester United and how both teams are used for leverage. Devin, you'll be happy to know that I am also a Manchester United supporter. But Bob, getting back to the point, a lot of people stats saying, Cowboys shouldn't have overpaid for Vaughn like this. It's 6 years, 120, blah, blah. Like, it really isn't that when you look at guaranteed money, but whatever. And getting back to my friend Bobby's tweet, you've seen the movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin, I imagine. Okay, do you remember the quote from the one character that works at the tech store where he says, right isn't working for you, man. You need to try some wrong, dog. Like, do you remember that? That's who, like, Cowboys, this is not working. Like this penny pinching, frugal philosophy of a disposition is not working. Signing the second and third wave guys, letting your own players leave, purposefully destroying your roster is not a good thing. And yes, they play in this terrible division. Yes, they play in the weaker conference, but I'm like, and I tweeted this out on Wednesday evening stats. The Buffalo Bills, my Buffalo Bills, lost a playoff game by 13 seconds. They lost a game that they probably win 999 out of 1,000 times, right? Yep. Like they lost it in the 1 out of 1,000th way. And instead of saying, you know what, man, we lost 1 out of 1,000, like next year will be one of the 999. We're good. They said, to hell with that. We are going to pour it on. We are going to double and triple down. We are here now. We are here to be all in now. We do not want to wait. And I greatly respect that disposition. I'm so proud to be a pseudo Buffalo Bills fan, to have been circling the wagons here on the SB Nation NFL show, in spite of all the hatred I've gotten from my colleagues. Whereas the Cowboys are conceivably, or were conceivably, in this same sort of position. And yet, what have they done? They have traded away Amari Cooper. They toyed with cutting DeMarcus Lawrence. I don't know if you saw this. He did an interview this week where he said his initial offer from the team was 1 year for $10 million, which is just laughably dumb. They are about to get rid of Lyle Collins in all likelihood. They let Connor Williams go, so they're about to be down 3 starters on the offensive side of the ball, an offense that cratered over the second half of the season. And then you get all the Cowboys fanboys. Well, that's okay. Micah Parsons is here. Micah Parsons is amazing. He might very well be the best defensive player in the NFL. That is possible, but there is a natural defensive regression coming in all likelihood. You are not going to get all the turnovers. You are not going to get all those Trayvon Diggs interceptions. That is going to regress to the mean, and the offense being worse creates an overall less product. It's dumb. I mean, like there's no better way to describe this ineptitude. I'm none of it is surprising, and that's the last thing I'll say. You get all these people like, how are people surprised? This is the way the Cowboys operate. Nobody is surprised. We are frustrated and pissed off.
There's that old saying, you either get better or you get worse, but you never stay the same, and it is unquestionable right now that the Dallas Cowboys are a worse team than they were when last year ended. And I don't know that they're going to do anything that's going to change my mind between now and the start of the regular season. And I don't get the attention and the fascination with the Dallas Cowboys. They should be ignored until they do anything of relevance.
They won't, though. I mean, the closest they came was them getting taken off of Sunday Night Football, incidentally, in a game that they played against your San Francisco 49ers 2 years ago. And, the problem with that was what Jalen Smith, who's now no longer part of the team, said when he said, if Jerry's not mad about it, then I'm not mad. And that's just kind of the way, that's the status quo in Dallas. I mean, the checks stay cash and everything's good. And they will be the most valuable sports team in the world, according to Forbes' list, in a little bit, a few months or whatever. Manchester United will be right behind them. And, Dick's Sporting Goods' top 50 jersey sales list will come out. Micah Parsons will be there, Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, etc. And, on and on and on we go. The circus never ends.
You've said it better than I could, RJ. All right. Well, do you have another superlative for us?
I do. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm actually looking for exactly what this stands for. Here we go. My award, my superlative, and you have to get the spelling right here, is the woof.com award. You might recall in, I believe it was season 7 of The Office, Ryan, the fire, starter, of course, started WOOF, which was bought by Washington University Public Health Fund. It was a big old thing, big old, process, big old corporate launch from Ryan, again, in this episode of The Office. What does this have to do with us, Stats? Well, I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of Pete Carroll, and he was a great coach, and he gave us opportunities to succeed. And we did some great things in Seattle. I mean, I'll always be a Seahawk, but I'm here to change things and be part of a culture and a winning team. And and I'm not afraid of a challenge. I'm not afraid of anything. And I'm just privileged to be the latest great quarterback in this organization's storied history. Another two-sport athlete, right, John? I mean, John told me he had two gloves in his office, and I think we might go play some catch out on the practice field.
I can't take it anymore.
But we're here now, and so Broncos country, let's ride. Russ, dude, like it was, everybody joked, Stats. Everybody joked. Oh, Russ is definitely going to have a new catchphrase with the Denver Broncos. Everybody took this low-hanging fruit of a joke. I got personally a lot of content out of it, if you couldn't tell. And he did it. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, just go play football. I love Russell Wilson. I really do. But this was a little bit lame. And what's also lame is this is the best thing you could come up with. Broncos country, let's ride. And it's a matter of time until that is its own thing. He owns BroncosCountryLet'sRide.com. It is so sad how predictable it was that Russell Wilson would be just as corporate with a new team.
He spent time thinking about that. That's the part. And it's the off season, whatever. Like, I don't care. But it's so absurd. It's so hokey and pathetic. And, he said in the press conference, I've watched every Broncos game from last year twice. And Barstool Bighead had a good tweet and just said, this is a hilarious lie, which is true. Like, first of all, so what? Who cares? Second of all, like, there's no way for any of us to verify it. And my thing, RJ, the 3 things that I don't like that you never have to tell people. I'm good looking, I'm smart, and I'm hardworking. And Russ loves to tell people how hard he works. And it just rubs me the wrong way. Go do it, man. Just go do it. You can do all the stuff you do. You can work as hard as you work without telling a single soul. And you know what? It's about time you start, because you've been pretty disappointing in the playoffs recently.
I mean, this was my award, and I don't want to immediately detract from it, but I just saw a tweet, Stats, that I cannot not describe.
Oh, boy.
So a lot of quarterbacks have changed teams so far. We're waiting on some others, obviously. Among them, Carson Wentz. Did you see? I know you shared a photo with us on Slack with BLG and I of him wearing the Letterman jacket, which is like a lame franchise move in general. But did you see the video of him on the plane as he was seemingly headed to DC? You're taking
yes.
And so he said, "What's up, guys? It's Carson." And he said, and I'm excited to, as we all know, begin the process to take command. And I literally almost burst out laughing. It's so hard to take seriously. So it seems that Carson is next for the press conference to announce franchise quarterback. And Stats, have you seen the photo that I'm talking about, what he's wearing?
Let's just say Carson is all in on the Commander's color scheme.
He is wearing this is more like a red shirt. I wouldn't say this is quite maybe like a wine-colored shirt. You know what I mean? Like somewhere between wine and burgundy, red and burgundy. It's kind of lighter, right? I mean, okay, yes.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to keep going.
Well, no, yeah. I was just waiting for you to confirm that so I could get to the big thing. Okay. He's wearing a jacket. Okay, respect. Got to take this seriously. This is a job, corporate America. The jacket is not quite gold. It is not quite yellow. I don't know how to describe this, Stats. I'll leave it to you.
It's mustard. He looks like a hot dog.
I was actually thinking he looks like, it reminded me of Ronald McDonald. That's what he looks like.
It's really bad. And first of all, why wouldn't you just reverse those? You could have a dark red, a nice burgundy
with a yellow
jacket.
Shirt. Yeah. Totally.
That looks too similar to the Hall of Fame jacket. That's bad vibes. Bad vibes there. Shocker in Washington. It's already off to a bad start.
Dude, I mean, what? Just wow. But anyway, Broncos country. Let's ride. I mean, dude, it was just so cringy. It was so cringy. And then like Nathaniel Hackett's quote that was like all over the place was kind of on my radar too. Did you see, you know what I'm talking about?
When he swore and he was like, "Oh, bleep, guys, it's Russell Wilson."
He was like, Russell Wilson. Wow, wow. Like this. He might as well just done that. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, just relax. I mean, just chill out. This, I like the Broncos. They're among, we all kind of have these teams that aren't our teams that are like in this box of like, I think they're cool. The Broncos have always been in that box for me. This is really like, they are actually kind of becoming Russ, which is a little bit terrifying. Like they're a little, and dude, like all the tweets, like they had a tweet that was like, yes, it's real. Like like guys, relax. Like you are a proud organization. You have some great history, like it's like, I always thought when Brett Favre went to the Minnesota Vikings as an example, I always thought like, he can get away with this stuff here. Brett Favre is bigger than the Minnesota Vikings. Russell Wilson is not bigger than the Denver Broncos. You know what I mean? Like you could like stand tall, Denver. You're respectable in your own right. Have some pride. Have
Denver,
some self-worth.
You still don't have the best quarterback in the division. And it's not close. Like, so somebody just tweeted Carson Wentz side by side with Ronald McDonald.
I'm telling you, that's what he looks like.
It's really bad. But you don't have the best quarterback in the division. So like, calm down. Figure it out, like act professional. You've guaranteed nothing. You might, if the Broncos missed the playoffs, would I be stunned? Hell no. Not in any way, shape, form, or fashion. The AFC is absolutely loaded. All right. Can I say one more thing about the Russell Wilson thing?
I just want to say, I saw one tweet really quickly, Stats. That was a photo of Russ and his wife, Ciara. And this was from the Broncos Twitter account, and they also posted there that everywhere they said "King and Queen of Broncos country." Relax, like guys,
pretty
chill
sure
out.
John Elway is still the king of Broncos country. The dude went to 5.
Peyton, if it's not John, it's Peyton. Peyton wants to like buy the Broncos. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Peyton chose you over the Colts. I mean, like, but okay, what's your one thing? Sorry.
A lot of people were dragging the Seahawks because in the statements that they put out after the trade became official, they expressly said Russ wanted out. Once we realized Russ wanted this change, we made the move. And people were dragging them as if they somehow did Russell Wilson wrong. That's the truth. That is the truth. He did want out, and he wanted out for 2 years. What is wrong with saying it? Like, oh, they were like, Russ was so classy in his press conference. If the Seahawks are telling the truth, what's not classy about it? The reason that he is no longer in Seattle is Russell Wilson. There was no way that Pete Carroll and John Schneider were going to voluntarily trade the best quarterback in franchise history. And by the way, I will take a little shot at Seahawks PR, who tweeted out that Russ was one of the best quarterbacks in franchise history. I mean, the runner-up in Seattle is Matt friggin' Hasselbeck, who was fine. I don't mean to drag Matt Hasselbeck. But other than that, you're talking like Dave Craig and Warren Moon. Like, give me a break. Russ is by far the best quarterback in franchise history. So that was bad. But the statements acknowledging that the reason he was traded is because he wanted out, I have no problem with that. You're not doing someone dirty if you're telling the truth.
I agree with that 100%. And this just goes to show, I don't think Russ is slimy by any means, but how corporate he is. Like, he has been very, very, very calculated with this for over a year now. And in that sense, I will give him full credit for executing his plan, right? Like, because he did. Like, there is no blood on Russell Wilson's hands as far as Seahawks fans are concerned.
And there should be.
Right. Exactly. That's my point. But at the end of the day, Stats, it's a privilege to play in the National Football League.
I can't do it.
I'm so fortunate that I've now played for two of the two greatest organizations in the NFL, and we're here to win. And so Broncos country, let's ride.
Oh God! First of all, like, it's 2 parts. There's just no part of that is good. All right, can I get to my final superlative here?
I guess. I mean,
why do you have to say it like that? Why can't you just be enthusiastically all in?
Because mine were better. I mean, than yours. So I know that we're about to talk about something that isn't as good as what I've already brought up and discussed.
I don't think you do.
Waste our time.
Next one I want to give out is the Welcome Back Award, and I want to give it to ESPN and Monday Night Football. I know it's not, free agency, but technically Aikman's contract was up and he switched networks, so I'm counting him as a free agent. And look, right or wrong, Monday Night Football just didn't feel big anymore. It just didn't. It was, they were switching announcers every year, and it just wasn't an event. Monday Night Football is supposed to be an event. That's the whole point. The game is a standalone game, and it just was lacking these past few years. Now you get Aikman and Buck in there, and it's like, boom. This is serious now. This is a big deal, right? They were always the primetime network that got the crappiest games. NBC got the best games for Sunday Night Football. Thursday night got some games because they were on NFL Network, so the league wanted to take care of itself. And then Monday night got like 1 or 2 good games, but they pretty much kind of got the leftovers. Now you got Aikman and Buck there, and I think they're going to start to get some better games, and it's back, man. When I was a kid, it was Madden and Summerall on Sundays, and then on Mondays, it was Al Michaels, it was Frank Gifford, and it was Dan Deerdorf. And when your team played on Monday Night Football, it was like the biggest thing on the planet, especially me growing up as a Niners fan. I never got to see my team play. When they were on Monday Night Football and they put all the 49ers related stuff into the theme song, which I loved, that made it feel like an event. And now that Aikman and Buck are on Monday Night Football, it is back, man. It is going to be so much fun. And I think ESPN deserves a little love because they paid a hell of a lot of money to make it happen.
So here's the thing. I have one point to bring this down to earth, but I'm totally with you. And I agree with the point that a lot of people make, in that I do not watch a game for the broadcast team. Or there's no time where I'm like, oh, so X and Y are calling the game, I will choose this over not choosing it. I'm going to watch the game no matter what. However, you need to have some adults in the room. And with all serious respect to the people who have worked Monday Night Football over the last 5 or so years, it just has not felt that way. It has not felt serious. It is. My watch wanted to contribute to the conversation, but it has not felt like there is an adult in the room, like someone who knows what is happening here. And what's been worse is the fakeness that they've tried to kind of lean on the image of Monday Night Football. As an example, we had Louis Riddick on the Blog on the Boys podcast network back at the beginning of the season when Dallas played Philadelphia. That was week 3. And Louis is awesome. I don't want to in any way is this a shot at Louis. But he was talking about the game, obviously previewing the game, and he said, we'll see, this what's going to happen, these guys playing under the pressure and the bright lights of Monday Night Football. Dude, what? There's no added pressure because the game is on Monday Night Football. And those are the phrases and the jargon that were kind of not only was the product bad, but it made you roll your eyes, that everyone was pretending, it was like somebody inheriting, the kingdom that wasn't necessarily living up to the standard of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Had Booger McFarland in a floating chair. Come on.
Look, you could, wow. Carson is on NFL Network now. And my goodness. He also, I don't know if you could see the stats. He has a handkerchief in his suit jacket pocket. And that is the burgundy color to match his shirt, but it has specks of the yellow in it. So it isn't even a solid red in his pocket. Who would wear this?
Can you remember when the last time in the NFL where someone was introduced and the press conference went horribly and it ended up working out? I don't. I remember Jim Tomsula with the 49ers. They asked him what his offense was going to be, and he couldn't answer the question. I remember Ben McAdoo showing up to the New York Giants press conference with a suit that was 8 sizes too big. They never even scored 30 points in any game in his entire tenure with the Giants. It's not going to go bad. We already know it now. It's Hot Dog Man, okay? He looks like a freaking hot dog. It's going to be a disaster.
I will say that's actually a really great barometer. We should do an episode in the offseason, the weirdest ways to tell that something's going to be successful. If there's an epic moment in the press conference, then it typically also goes well. Some would debate that this actually went well, but as an example, T.O.'s get your popcorn ready moment with his press conference with the Cowboys, it was a great line, and he was awesome for the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? If you have this moment, then it generally does go well. But back to the point. I'm super excited about this. Again, it's not just just like people that are experienced, because like the people that have done Monday Night Football are professionals and have done other sporting events and things like that. But this is a top flight duo that has done Super Bowls, that has been together. They don't have to like fake the chemistry and get to know one another. That is awesome. Troy is arguably the best color commentator and most qualified color commentator to be on Monday Night Football since John Madden, I would argue. I mean, not that he's John Madden, but his credentials certainly speak for themselves. Joe Buck might be, honestly, the greatest play-by-play guy to ever sit in the Monday Night Football chair. I know people hate Joe Buck, but he's awesome. And I think there's... well, I guess so. But I mean, Al's the GOAT. But I mean, still, like Joe is, if you're going to be second to anybody, I mean, and it's to Al Michaels, you're doing all right. And I mean, I loved Joe Buck had a video that he tweeted out where he just kind of like announced the news. I love that he kind of gave, anytime he talks about his dad is awesome. Like when he talked about like listening to his dad do the radio calls from Monday Night Football, etc. I mean, it feels right. And this has felt so awkward and so wonky. And I will say personally, I will choose this over the Manning cast every time. Unless there is like a specific guest or something that I really want to hear from or something like that. But where I think ESPN wins here is, and again, we do this for a living and whatever, and I'm obsessed in this way. I will watch the standard broadcast on Monday night, and then Tuesday when I'm doing my work and getting stuff out, that's when I'll play the Manning cast. You know what I'm saying? Like to catch up and hear the commentary or whatever.
I'm not a Manning cast guy, especially if my team is in the game, forget it. The only thing I want to hear from Peyton Manning is I want to hear him break down the game and break down situations. I want Peyton Manning to be the color analyst. That's what I want. He does that sometimes, but it's all about like this. It's just so stupid. It's like a broadcast for like non-hardcore football fans. They bring on cool guys and they chat about stuff. Like, give me a break. No way. Especially for the money that ESPN is paying. That's absurd. But whatever. People can. I don't care. Like, I don't have to watch it, so it's fine. But it just doesn't do it for me.
Okay, I have one more. I know you said that was your last one.
All right, let's get it in quick.
Okay. Wow, why quick? Anyway, mine is the Make Your Own Luck award. All right, so today's St. Patrick's Day. 4-leaf clovers, lots of luck. Everybody's wearing green. Stats isn't everybody pinch stats, but this team. I actually would like you to guess who is making their own luck right now. I believe.
Man. You already talked about Buffalo, so I'll say no.
Buffalo fits, but against a different team. It's not the Bills.
Okay, the Ravens?
The Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Wow, way to go, stats. Look, Zadarius Smith, I would have treated the signing like it was the greatest thing of all time if it happened with the Cowboys because I am that starved at this point in time. It's like, if you're wandering in the desert, you don't need filet mignon. Just give me some saltines, some Ritz crackers, and I'll be a happy camper. But I love that the Ravens said last season did not go well. We are pissed off. Like I love that. I love that. Okay, we're gonna get Zadarius Smith. We're gonna get Marcus Williams. We are going to add, and we are not going to just sit here and let Cincinnati run this thing. I love that the Baltimore Ravens are always like. I love the disposition the Bills have right now. Obviously, this is kind of a newer thing for Buffalo to be forward-thinking and aggressive, etc. This has always been who the Ravens are. You can always trust that the Ravens are going to do the intelligent thing when it comes to building their team. And I love to see that happening. Good job by the Ravens. Shout out to Kyle Barber, who had me on our latest chess game. I'll say, shout out, Kyle.
Wow. I love that the Ravens made this move because it attacks the division rival where they are weakest. And I know that Cincinnati made some additions to their offensive line, but that is clearly still the Achilles heel of that team. And the Ravens were like, they whooped us last year. Let's go get Zadarius Smith. I know he was hurt last year, but he still has 26 sacks over the last 3 years. The dude can rush the passer. And the Ravens, look, if you're in the AFC right now, this is what you have to do. You have no choice. You can't bring a knife to a gunfight. You better load up. Otherwise, you have no shot. I tweeted out yesterday about all the Bills are loading up. The Ravens, the Chargers made a couple of big free agent signings. Good thing the Steelers signed Mitchell Trubisky. Like, what are you doing if you're Pittsburgh? What are you doing? That makes no sense to me.
I agree with you 100%. Okay, but of the quarterback, the notable quarterback movements, right? So Denver wins, right? The award, right, for best one with Russell Wilson. What's the next best one?
Which I don't know why can't we just like drag the Steelers for not getting Russell Wilson?
We can, I mean, I suppose, but okay,
Russell Wilson is a possibility. I think
we'll say like Russell was not 100% controllable factor for the Steelers, right? Because he had a no trade clause. So I mean,
yeah, but he ended up going to a team that wasn't even on his list last year.
Okay, that's fine. But outside of Russell Wilson, if we concede that that's the very best way they could have improved, what's the next best? Carson Wentz? They didn't get Carson Wentz, right? Deshaun? No. I mean, there's some debate as to whether that route is truly worth pursuing. I mean, and the Rooneys have generally handled things the right way, so maybe not their cup of tea, and understandably so. So, I mean, what's the next best option? Like, again, I'm not trying to sit here and cape for Mitchell. And again, I think I deserve some credit because I accurately predicted the number 2 overall pick thing kind of still being a factor here. So shout out to me. But this feels like this feels like lemonade out of lemons. Like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
What was the rush to sign Mitchell Trubisky, right? What if Deshaun Watson goes to Atlanta and Matt Ryan becomes available? He would have been a viable option.
I don't want Matt Ryan. Right
Jimmy Garoppolo could have been a viable option. Gardner Minshew would have been a much better option. My friend Stats is
telling me that Jimmy Garoppolo is not a viable option. I mean, like,
you don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo is an easier sell inside that locker room than Mitchell freaking Trubisky?
No, because I don't know that you can also trust Jimmy to stay healthy. You know what I mean? Like Pittsburgh truly, like, if there's a team that gets it done with duct tape and glue and sticks, you know what I mean? That's Pittsburgh, right? And we trust Mike Tomlin that we talk about that never finished below 500, et cetera, et cetera. And so, I mean, like, he literally got it done with that kind of quarterback last year in Ben Roethlisberger. Do I think Mitchell Trubisky is great? No. Do I think he's good? Probably not. I mean, I think he's average, but I think the floor he gives them is at the very least the floor that Ben Roethlisberger as of late gave them, right? He has a level of mobility. I mean, I think if there's a head coach who and that was among the teams interested in quarterbacks this offseason that I trust the most to truly make lemonade, it's Mike Tomlin.
He couldn't even start in the league last year, RJ. Every team in the league was like, do we want Mitchell Trubisky as our starter? No. And what has he done since then? He's thrown 8 passes and one of them was intercepted. Like, what are we doing here? This is absurd for this. And who was rushing to sign Mitchell Trubisky?
But again, like, they had to make some sort of move. So so what do you mean they didn't? What are they going to do? Go with Duck Hodges? Like, they had to get somebody in the room. And so, like, who's better alternative? There was a conceivable alternative this offseason. Carson Wentz?
No. I went through it. Gardner Minshew, much better.
I would rather have Mitchell Trubisky.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that it's Mike Tomlin. Like, again, like, he's the best person at making. I would rather have the pairing. Like, BLG had one of the worst takes of all time a year ago when he said that he would take the combination of Ron Rivera and Ryan Fitzpatrick over Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. I am not caping for Mike McCarthy, but Dak Prescott on his own elevates that over anything that Ron Rivera has done. So that being said, the combination of Mike Tomlin and Mitchell Trubisky is better than Gardner Minshew and, like, just about any head coach in the NFL outside of Bill Belichick.
Gardner Minshew has 41 touchdowns and 12 picks in his career. He's infinitely better than Mitchell Trubisky. Everybody wants to say, oh, Mitchell Trubisky, get him away from Matt Nagy. He'll be better. Just like Sam Darnold was better when he got away from Adam Gase. Like, no, thank you. The Steelers could still be waiting. First of all, they probably still could have signed Mitchell Trubisky if they waited till after this Deshaun Watson thing. They could still trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. They could have still traded for Gardner Minshew. They'll probably end up drafting a quarterback in the draft anyway. But I just think it's absurd that that's who the Steelers are bringing to this fight. They think that the best, if you were TJ Watt, are you telling me you'd rather have Mitchell Trubisky or Jimmy Garoppolo? At least with Garoppolo, you can say, look, in the exact same situation in San Francisco, in a tough division, the dude has gone to the NFC Championship game at least in 2 out of the last 3 years.
It's amazing stats how you are now Jimmy Garoppolo's biggest fan.
No,
it's amazing.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying Jimmy Garoppolo is an easier sell than Mitchell Trubisky, and that's a pretty low freaking bar.
I don't care if he's an easier sell. If the Steelers organization, if Mike Tomlin has studied them and prefers Mitchell Trubisky, there are not a lot of coaches who I would give the benefit of the doubt to and would trust that instinct over anybody else. Mike Tomlin is one of them.
When has Mike Tomlin ever proven any ability to scout quarterbacks? We don't know, right?
The fact that he's, like, dragged, non-Ben Roethlisberger quarterbacks to successful seasons. That's how. Like,
successful seasons is not finishing below 500. That's the bar.
In the totality of it all, it is successful. I mean, he is extremely successful. And they have had incredible offenses in Pittsburgh under his regime. And so, I mean, he has the benefit of the doubt as far as I'm concerned. But Stats, I have to tell you something that has emerged. Carson Wentz said that he already owned the jacket before this. PFF Sam Monson has a great point. He tweeted and said, "I would be out on Wentz just for that." Like, how did you own this? Like, how? What? I mean, like,
it's just bad. It's just a car crash in slow motion. We all can see it happening. You know, you ever have those dreams where you can see yourself like you're trying to run away from something, but you can't go fast, like you can't move, you're going super slow. That's what it's like with Carson Wentz. Like Washington is just getting sucked into a black hole. And it's just
I actually would put it a very different way. Like as an example, when I was in college and I would go study like late hours at the library, you know, like there would be these moments where like, you know, you would just be in like a room of the library and you would be like, how did I end up here? You know, like what decisions did I make in life that, you know, like that led to me being in this room at this moment, you know, like that, like, and it would be this like existential thought that I would have. I have to feel like if you're a Commanders fan, you feel that way. Like I tweeted this out myself. The opening seconds of the video, it's something like, "What's up, Commanders fans? This is Carson Wentz." That sentence is insane. Like, you know, but it's real. It's crazy.
There's that like thing on TikTok where it's, "Hi, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here." Like
that thing on TikTok. You mean that thing from Loki? How dare you?
What are you talking about?
That's from Loki.
Okay, but it's also on TikTok, and more people have probably seen it on TikTok than on Loki.
Wow, Stats thinks that Disney Plus has low subscribers after he just backed, you know, ABC's
less subscribers
Monday Night
than TikTok. Yeah, I do.
Wow.
How dare you? All right, that's going to do it for this edition of The Look Ahead. If you agree with us, you disagree with us, whatever, hit us up on Twitter. I am at Stats on Fire. He is at RJ Ochoa. Or better yet, leave us a rating and a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to the show. I promise you, if you take the time to leave a review on iTunes or wherever you get your pods, we will take the time to read it on the show. RJ, final prediction. Does Deshaun Watson get traded today on Thursday?
Yes.
I agree. Enjoy it, everybody. We'll be back next week.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.